I am from beyond. Listen, and all you desire will be yours. Welcome to Spider-Dan and the Secret Doors. Prepare for Prattle.
Secret Stories.
My number 2. I love it. I love it.
Here we go.
It is Roy Batty from Blade Runner.
Ooh.
Rutger Hauer.
Yes, that's a good
Rutger Hauer. I said that really wiggly then, didn't I?
Rutger Hauer.
His bloody Rutger Hauer. He's great at Rutger Hauer. I loved him.
Go on, tell us about Roy Batty.
Again, one of those characters, I mean, is what I said at the start. All about character for me. It's all about character. Yeah. His journey is simply to be recognised and to be free. That's all he wants. And by doing that, he thinks is to find who created him. Who's the creator? Who is the mastermind behind all this? Who was my father? But the thing that Rutger Hauer does so brilliantly is make it really closed. I don't know how to describe it. It's so weird. It's very much like a small performance. But again, when similar thing with Ian Holm, when he wants to go crazy. Yeah. He fully goes crazy. Becomes like a cat almost at the end of the film when he's in the face-off with Harrison Ford. But everything about Roy Batty is so philosophical and so poetic. The way he moves is very regal almost. It's nothing like you'd imagine like an android walking. Yeah. It's very much, I mean, if you didn't know he was a synthetic, you wouldn't know because the way he just moves, it is very poetic and very almost like Shakespearean. Yeah. The way he does things, the way he talks, the way he interacts with people, and even the way he kills is it's dramatic and intense
and emotional.
And,
really emotional.
Pure emotion drives him, and that's the flaw of Roy Batty. He's so knowledgeable about everything, but the emotion kicks in. When his emotions kick in, he can't contain them, and that's what eventually kills him. It's just the raw emotion. He just can't. He can't get away from that. He can't evolve past that. So that's why his journey he can never complete his journey because he just can't evolve past the base anger. Even though they've only got a certain amount of time to live.
Yeah, exactly. They've got a certain lifetime scale.
I mean, surely there must have been some kind of way that they could, possibly extend it. Who knows? It's one of the mysteries of the Blade Runner universe. It's just that raw intensity, I think, from Rutger Hauer that just drives the entire performance. A better performance than Harrison Ford's in that film.
Oh yeah,
by a clear margin.
He just like Harrison Ford for all the good he does in the movie is basically it's the noir private dick. Yeah. The Sam Spade, all those kind of characters, and he plays that to a T, and that's great. Yeah. But you watch it for Roy Batty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's one of the films I watch at least once a year. I absolutely adore it. I absolutely adore that film.
Do you have a favourite cut of Blade Runner?
The final one. Yeah. The very final one, which leaves the mystery open as to whether Deckard is Harrison Ford, that is, whether he is a replicant or not. I'm of the opinion that he is, but I like the fact that in Blade Runner 2049, they still don't
address it, yeah.
I like that. I like that they keep it open. Yeah. Because even the villain of 2049 goes, well, who do you think you are? Do you think you're this person or do you think you're that person? Yeah. Who really knows? And it's like, oh, you fucking son of a bitch. Yeah. I wanted an answer, but at the same time, coming out of the film, I was like, I'm glad I didn't get an answer.
Sometimes I think there's certain stories where I think when you're given more questions, it's better. Yeah. Like I read Wolverine Weapon X. First time I read that as a kid, I was like, finally, we find out how he got his claws, how he became who he was, how he did all this, and actually come out of that book with more questions. But then I was like, well, I'm just like Wolverine. Yeah. Because every time he finds a little nugget, it just leads to more questions. A little more about who he is leads to more questions. So I quite liked feeling like the character. I kind of embodied and empathised with that struggle. So I think Roy Batty is that kind of what is it to be alive? What is it to truly live?
That's the fundamental question that drives him. And he meets the person who created him, but it still isn't enough. And he ends up killing him in the most horrific way. The whole crushing the eyes and then the head. He achieves that goal, but it's still not enough. There's still something else that's driving him that he just can't obtain, which is why when he sees Harrison Ford sort of like dangling, whatever it is that's inside him goes, oh, maybe this isn't the way. But you know what? I'm still going to play with you. Because he's so conflicted, Roy. It's what I love about the character. He's just so conflicted in everything he does, yet so resolute when he decides.
Yeah, when he
when
he finally makes that decision, there's nothing changing his mind.
No, but he's so much more of a character than the other synthetics are around him. The rest of them seem to be like, they get very much arrowed in one direction where he can perceive several different things.
I'm seeing a lot of links between all your choices. They all seem to have a similar kind of mindset, or like the way they make their decisions and when they make their decisions. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm programmed. I've calculated this. This is the result.
Yeah.
Program says I do this.
Yeah. But again, I do like it when there's this, the twist in the machine.
Yeah.
So him saving Deckard is a twist in that machine.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make any sense. Why does he save Deckard?
Flaw in the program.
Yeah. He turns around, he's got that stupid dove in his hand, and then he turns back around, jumps over the chasm, and saves him. I've always loved that scene because I don't fully understand why he does save him. I get it in theory, but there's still that moment I'm like, even Harrison Ford in that moment, he's kind of like, I should be dead. And then he does that entirely beautiful speech of like, I've seen things you people wouldn't even believe. Love it.
Fully improvised as well.
Exactly, fully improvised. But that is the mark of good characterization, good acting. He's fully invested in that character to the point where he's comfortable enough to just sit there and go, this is where my character's dying. I'm going to do this, and it's going to add to it and not feel shit.
There's so many levels to him as a character. I think Rutger Hauer is one of my favorite actors anyway.
Very underrated.
I think
God rest his soul.
Yeah, I know. It's a shame we lost him because I was literally like watching one of his films like not even a few days or a few months before. I watched Blind Fury not so long ago, and I watched something else, and I love him, and he's very much a cult actor in lots of cult films. But that kind of makes him all the better because I can appreciate even like a genre film with a quality, Shakespearean style actor, in it. In even the worst film I've seen him in, he still elevates it.
Hobo with a shotgun.
Yeah, exactly. Or Nighthawks with Sylvester Stallone, which is pretty crap for the most part. And it features him killing Rutger Hauer while in drag.
Brilliant.
So check that one out if you want. It's also got Lando Calrissian's in it if you want to watch that as well. Billy D. Williams.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with you with Roy Batty because he is phenomenal. He's interesting. He's a little bit sexy as well. I think he's a little bit sexy. Sexy about him.
The whole Blade Runner universe is based on sort of like heightened sex appeal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, most of the pleasure models, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. Models, yeah. So you can imagine that Triss, the girl he hangs around with, I think she was a pleasure model.
Yeah, I think so.
She just goes psychotic.
Daryl Hannah's one.
Daryl Hannah, Daryl Hannah. I can never remember her name. Sorry, Daryl. But yeah, I love the character. I really do love the character.
I think it's a great universe, and I think it's a great kind of a treatise on what the human condition is and what it is to be alive, what it is to have a soul. Does Roy Batty have a soul?
Exactly. I mean, that's why my explanation or my idea about this character may sound a bit rambly, purely because there is so much left open to interpretation for it. That's the great thing about the Blade Runner film. Everyone has their own ideas. Yeah. Is Deckard a replicant? Does Roy Batty have a soul? Who is real?
Yeah. I mean, what is it to be alive? What is it to be real? Who is truly human?
Yeah, I mean, one of the only characters I think is actually human in that film is the old guy with the walking stick, Gaff. Yeah. I honestly think he's the only one that's real for large portions of that film because he's constantly on Deckard's ass all the time with the little origami things, and they played to it in 2049 as well. They've got the guy with
the disfigurement as well, haven't they?
Yeah, they've got a brief scene in 2049 where when Ryan Gosling goes to see Gaff, who's played by Edward James Olmos.
Yes,
love him, great actor. And they play to that whole idea of like, well, what is real? How do you know? I just love it. I love the mystery surrounding it, and that's why the character is my number 2. Yeah, purely because that mystery around him. Love it.
Yeah. Shame she won't live. But then again, who does?
Too bad she won't live. Then again, who does?
It's a great line.
Good line.
It's a great line, and that line kind of adds to the whole film. Yeah, it's within keeping with those themes.
That line is repeated right at the very end of the film as well, when there's a little unicorn at Deckard's front door, and he picks it up. Yeah. And you just hear it in the, too bad she won't live. And again, who does?
And again, so we all die, we might as well live our fullest lives while we can. Exactly. So,
great film.
Great choice, great film. Okay, so moving on. So this will be That was your number 2, so this will be my number 2.
Christ on a bike.
Yeah, so we are going full on into the Transformers franchise.
Excellent.
So again, I'm not picked an obvious one.
As I have.
Yeah. I've kind of seen that one coming. I think I've seen this one coming a little bit, but we'll get to it. We'll get to him. So I've gone for Ratchet from the Transformers franchise.
Brilliant choice. Absolute brilliant choice.
Love him to bits. So obviously they've got like Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, the kind of Ironhide, kind of the obvious ones that you might pick.
Yeah.
Now I like Ratchet because he isn't a warrior.
No,
he isn't a soldier. He's a doctor. He's a mechanic. Mm-hmm. He's a scientist. He deals with kind of his practice is based in science, and he avoids kind of because there's considering the Transformers franchise is about robots. There's a lot of spirituality and spiritual,
very much so.
Godlike beings like Unicron's basically a satanic planet,
and for me that's something that the films have not really
kind of tapped
into. I mean, the animated film did to a degree.
Love it. I think we'll have to do something on that at some point. We'll have to do something. If we weren't doing this, we would probably have done that.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think there's a lot of spirituality, and he kind of ignores that because he's a man of science.
Yeah.
He tries to stay, and he's kind of this grizzled, old, kind of bitter, twisted doctor. He's still a good guy. But he's got his issues.
Yeah.
And
so the way I see him is that I can imagine he's seen it all before. He's seen the horrors. And it's grounded him. It's like, well, I know what all this is. I know how we can do this, the right way, away from all this,
Because he has a Hippocratic oath as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's said to have the fastest hands on Cybertron as well. And you would have to fix certain because what's great about the Transformers franchise is they don't shy away from violence because it's robots.
Yeah, they get blown to pieces.
Yeah, they get pulled apart. Optics get pulled out, and all sorts of stuff like that. And they never shy away from the violence. And that's what I've always quite liked as a kid because they can die, they can get destroyed, they can permanently die, but they can also sort of come back.
Yeah, definitely.
You've got like I said, you've got all the spirituality. You've got Primus. You've got Megatronus. All these kind of soldiers and knights of Cybertron. All this sort of stuff. I'm not a fan of the Michael Bay films. I'll be honest.
No, I like the first one purely because I was like, it's setting a good stepping stone.
Yeah.
And then it nosedived for me after
I'll be honest.
Revenge of the Fallen. It nosedived.
Did you see Bumblebee?
I've not, but I've heard the opening 20 minutes or so are
the best Transformers movie you've ever seen. I really didn't mind it. It's got a nice heart. It's got a nice tone. There's a little bit of Robot and Frank in there. It's kind of there's friendships and stuff. And I quite enjoyed it. And plus you get to see humans get liquefied.
Okay, cool.
In a PG-13 film, they just go and they just turn to this clear liquid when they get blown
Brilliant.
up. It's fantastic. It's a lot of fun. A lot of jokes in there. There's a bit where John Cena's how can we trust these guys? They're called Decepticons.
I forgot John Cena was in that.
They're literally called Decepticons.
Well, he's right though, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
It's literally why would you ever take the word of a Decepticon?
Yeah. The only thing I had an issue with is one of the characters is not Starscream, but has the colour design of Starscream.
Yeah, I think you told me this before, I think.
Yeah,
which doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
You have Starscream in that film. If you're going to use his colours, put fucking Starscream in the film. He's one of the greatest villains.
I feel like they initially wanted to, but then he gets killed off pretty quickly. But I would say, change the colour scheme then. Because in the opening, all the colour schemes are correct. You see Ravage, Soundwave, all those kind of great characters.
I think Starscream disappears in the Transformers with the Michael Bay ones.
Yeah,
he's
probably
in the first one. I think he's in the second one briefly, and then nothing.
If I did a Bad Robots list, Starscream would have been in.
It's that voice, isn't it?
Yeah.
I live to serve you, Lord Megatron!
And I love that he's just playing by his own rules.
Yeah.
He's never loyal to anybody. I love that about him. But yeah, he would definitely have been in my top 5.
Another character greatly done disservice to in the Michael Bay films.
Exactly. So in the Marvel comics, in the original Marvel comics, because they did the original storyline, they actually created most of the backstories for the Transformers and even gave them their names. So Optimus Prime and Megatron, they came from the Marvel comics, not from the toy line necessarily.
Yeah, definitely. There you go, boys and girls.
At the end of the first 4 issues, which was a mini series, all the Transformers are killed by Shockwave. They are all killed.
Of course they are.
And they are hung up, headless, armless. Their bodies are strung all across their base, like this big horror, like this big abattoir. And it's really disturbing, like to see every single toy destroyed. Like, you're like, this is a toy line and we just killed everybody. You know, it's almost like the Transformers movie. And
we just killed everyone's dreams.
And the only people that are left are Ratchet, Buster Witwicky, he's called in the comics, and the head of Optimus Prime. That is it.
The head of Optimus
That is literally
Prime.
it. And Ratchet, in the space of 3 or 4 issues, not only finds the Dinobots, resurrects them, tames them, makes a alliance with Megatron to defeat Shockwave, and then betrays and defeats Megatron in the space of these 3 or 4 issues. Without Ratchet, you wouldn't have Transformers comics. You wouldn't have a Transformers franchise because he saved them all.
You wouldn't have the fucking Dinobots.
You wouldn't have all that, and he brought them all back. And then not only that, later on, Megatron comes back, kidnaps him and forces him to perform surgery and fix things and create traps for the Autobots. And he valiantly sacrifices himself, blows up Megatron with some bombs through and there's like a time-space portal thing, kills him. And then later on, after the issue after that is like Optimus Prime is like almost crying. He's like, oh, Ratchet, why did you have to die? You know, he's the bones. If we're talking Star Trek, he's the bones of this franchise. He's the I'm a doctor, I'm not a soldier.
Dr. McCoy.
Exactly. And he's constantly hates himself because he's not working fast enough. He's not fixed enough Transformers fast enough. They're losing this war. What can he do? He's only
exactly
one man.
Like Dr. McCoy, isn't he? Dr. McCoy is like, I can do this. I will do this, Jim.
Yeah, and he curses himself. And even Optimus Prime says, I know you've got to fix all these Transformers, but you've got to take some time off. You're wired. You're totally stressed out. And he's like, And
that's the idea of a war veteran, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can save my men. I've done it before. Well, you might not be able to this time.
Yeah, exactly. You can't curse yourself over every single death. And he does feel responsible for everybody that dies on his table.
Yeah.
You know, even if they are, obviously they're machines and sometimes they can resurrect them in certain ways. But the stakes are still important. The stakes are still there. And after he blows up Megatron, they actually get resurrected. But they're actually combined into this weird like form where they're kind of almost like a Frankenstein's kind of monster. They're kind of like, Jesus, they're walking around. I know it's like all the Transformers comics are pretty dark and twisted if you read them. They're really if you read Transformers Classic, IDW have reprinted all the old Marvel comics, so you can read that entire run. It's on Comixology as well, the whole thing. And also they've got their more up to date comics like the IDW, More Than Meets the Eye. Really good stuff. And Optimus Prime is like he's having to put down his friend. He has to shoot him in the face.
Fucking hell.
And Ratchet / Megatron, which is both of them technically, he grabs Optimus' gun and puts it on his forehead. And it's like pretty dark and twisted for a little kids comic about a toy line.
Why is Optimus executing his own friends?
And he's having to kill his best friend. He's just resurrected, and then he comes back again, comes resurrected again, only to knock out Starscream in one punch because Starscream's like, I'm going to kill you for fun. He's like, fun? This is fun for you. You're a sick bastard. Knocks him out in one punch, and then he crashes the Ark. They're in the Ark, the big ship, and they crash it into Earth again. And in the it's called Regeneration 1, which was like a continuation of the old Marvel comics. He's a headless thing that Megatron is using to like all of Earth has been destroyed by Megatron at this point, and Ratchet is the key to like is like doomsday weapon or something. And Cup has to kill Ratchet again. Simon Furman, the writer, keeps doing it. People say, do you like hate Ratchet or something? Because you just keep killing him. But he's a really cool character. One of the best on-screen versions of him is in Transformers Prime. I don't know if you've seen that.
No, I haven't.
It's kind of, the designs are based on the movie, but it's more in line with like the comics and previous TV shows. He's played by Jeffrey Combs, who plays Herbert West, the Reanimator. He's in a lot of Star Trek as well. He's one of my favourite actors, and he plays that character to a T. And there's a bit where he develops like a new form of energon, but he becomes like addicted to it, like a steroid. And it's absolutely brilliant. Of course, it's green because he's the Reanimator. Of course, it's bright green. But it's fantastic. And he was like, and every time someone breaks something, his line is like, "I was using that. I needed that." He's like, it's brilliant. In the More Than Meets the Eye franchise, he has like an evil doppelganger called Farmer, who's like another like I think he's an ambulance or medical type of transformer, and he creates like an evil like rust virus that starts infecting all the Transformers. And what's even even more disturbing about that is later on he challenges him to like a surgery off, if you will. So there's 2 Transformers and he cuts them in half. Farmer cuts them in half with a chainsaw, and he says, "Right, if you can fix your Transformer, I'll let you go, or you can do whatever you want, or I'll let you do what." And he goes, "But I've got to cut them in half." And he's like, "Right, fine, I agree to it." But then Farmer cuts the Transformer directly down the middle.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
And it's really violent and crazy. It's brilliant. And eventually, like, Ratchet's like, "Well, I can't save him," so he transforms the body of that dead Autobot into a weapon and shoots Farmer with it.
Brilliant.
Fantastic. Great character. Love him to bits. Check him out. More Than Meets the Eye, the original Marvel comic in Transformers Classics, and Transformers Prime. Those are the best versions of Ratchet you can find. Great Transformer. And, it turns into an ambulance, Transformer turns into an ambulance.
That was a great one. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it.
So let's go on. We're running close to time, but I think we can mash on. What was your number 2? Yours is your number 1.
It is my number 1.
Number 1.
Absolutely surprising. No one at all across the entire universe.
Go on.
The Terminators.
Yes. I thought you were going to go with Megatron.
Now, here is a good one for you.
Okay.
So, I can't pick between the T-1000 of Robert Patrick or Arnie T-800.
Yeah.
But as brilliant as Arnie is as an evil Terminator, he sets the entire franchise up. I think he's better as being the good Terminator.
Yeah, arguably, yeah.
I think Robert Patrick as the T-1000, especially in the director's cut of Terminator 2, is utterly fantastic. The characterization he makes for that creature, the liquid Terminator, is just inch perfect. Absolutely inch perfect. He's terrifying, he's quick, he's vicious, he can create things out of, weapons out of nothing.
Yeah.
He's got some cracking lines in it, some cracking visual moments, some really, really amazing individual character flares. Like when he's in the middle of shop. It's the first time Arnie and the T-1000 face each other in the shop. The whole famous rose dropping scene where Arnie's got the shotgun in the rose box. He throws Arnie through a window and he's walking past. He looks at a mannequin that's silver.
Yeah.
And he looks at it and goes, it's sort of like got like a really quizzical look on his face. No reason for that to be in there.
Yeah.
Genius though. Because it's like there's an air of sort of like
learning, understanding.
Understanding and quizzical nature about him. It's like, what is that? Is that me? No.
Yeah. Is that another one of my kind?
On. Yeah. Yeah. It's absolutely brilliant. Arnie was great in the first Terminator as being that relentless, unforgiving machine with no clear emotional drive at all. But there's little flecks of emotion in Robert Patrick's T-1000.
Yeah.
And I fucking love it. Absolutely love it. I think the Terminator 2 is the better film of the two.
Yeah.
It's obviously more action based on whatever. Me being
more character as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, more
I think
stuff.
that's what drives this villain as well. Everything is amped up to 100. What they did with the first Terminator, they doubled down and increased tenfold.
Yeah.
And Robert Patrick plays it perfectly.
It grows the universe in an organic way as well.
Exactly, yeah. It's very, very... It sounds strange, but it's so human and yet completely alien as well. I just love it. I find it really hard to sort of like explain why I feel the way I do, because obviously I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's one of my favourite actors. I love all of his films, but I just love the way Robert Patrick is in this film. I love the T-1000.
He is it's fantastic. Yeah. Like, he's not... I don't think he's like that's his claim to fame now. And no matter what you see him in,
for better or worse, apart from the fact that Die Hard 2. He's in Die Hard 2.
He is in
hey
Die
buddy,
Hard 2.
what do I look like to you? Like a sitting duck. Love
That's
it.
a great line. That's a great line.
Yes, Robert Patrick's in Die Hard 2 for a brief moment.
That's his saving glory of that film.
Yeah,
that's
I love it.
Hail Mary.
But it's all the little things he does, because obviously he's very lean. It's all about speed and precision with Robert Patrick. So everything he does is perfectly timed, and the threat level of that Terminator. Because obviously Sarah Connor doesn't have any idea what it is either. Even though she's seen a Terminator before, she's still dealing with everything in her past. Yet she sees something so, unlike anything she's ever seen before as well, or thought possible. Like the terror is thread through every moment of it. When he starts running, fucking hell. As soon as he starts running, it's brilliant. Because you're like, oh my God, he's fast.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody run like that, and I don't think you ever will again, unless they're imitating that.
I mean, it's obviously great acting. It's great. He obviously did clearly a lot of work.
Characterization.
Characterization, choreographing how to run. And it sounds bizarre, but they will have done.
Yeah, of course they will.
People say James Cameron.
How does he move?
How does he move?
Yeah.
How does he run? how does a machine run? Obviously, Rob Patrick's, it must be very angular.
Yeah.
And it is really angular. It's
It is very
terrifying.
angular. Well, I mean, the idea that he doesn't clench his fists
Yeah.
kind of leads to me thinking that, because he turns his arms into like blades. So he's almost like he's cutting through the air as he's getting forward. And you're like, and when he runs and, he can jump as well, he's like very agile for this liquid metal kind of helps as well. And I don't think the further films have not improved on the Terminator design or what they can do.
Well, that's it.
That was the
T-1000
peak.
is the pinnacle. Obviously, everybody goes to the T-800 as the
classic,
the base, which is perfectly fine. The original Terminators are still terrifying.
Yeah.
But it's the evolution
with or without
of that
skin,
idea.
with or without skin,
exactly.
they're terrifying.
It's the evolution of that idea.
Yeah.
They have Thor's head.
Yeah.
So that's why I absolutely love it.
I love Terminator. I think the Terminator franchise is fantastic. You'll quite like that me and Dennis are going to be looking at a very prestigious comic book called RoboCop versus Terminator. I think that one you will like to have a look at because it is an amazing bit.
RoboCop versus Terminator.
Written by Frank Miller and drawn by Walter Simonson.
Of course it's done by Frank
Of course. I genuinely think it was the last good thing he did.
Yeah.
93, I think it was, something like that. 94. That's a long time coming, Frank. So maybe do something else that's good now, please.
Please do.
Not being weird anymore. But yeah, I think it's fantastic. I think what I like about the Terminator as well is like I love that sci-fi is always about something. It's never just kill a robot. Or, killer alien. Alien is about, the fear of like the male rape and male pregnancy. Yeah. That's all ingrained in that. There's so many, it's peppered throughout. Yeah. And Terminator for me is about, abortions. He's an abortion machine. You know what I mean? He's called the Terminator to terminate a pregnancy. Obviously, she's not pregnant at this point, but that's basically what he is.
It's a great taboo, isn't it?
And there's that, obviously in America, still now in Ireland, it's still controversial. In religious groups, it's very much a no-no. Yeah. That whole idea, and it's the fear of that as well. And I always found that really fascinating about that initial film. Anyway, obviously by Terminator 2 he's a child anyway, so it's kind of too late in some respect. But yeah, and obviously the Terminator franchise since then has not really, Terminator 3 I actually think has a very strong ending.
Yes, it does.
I think that's the best thing about it.
The film doesn't lend itself to the ending.
But I think on reflection of the Terminator films we've had since, it's a better one.
Yeah, unbelievably so. Who would have thought?
Yeah, talk to the hand and all that, and the glasses and all sorts.
It's not really that bad of a film,
the growing breasts and all that.
Yeah, again, character, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, exactly. Something about it.
Absolutely.
But so that was a good choice. I think a lot of people would agree with you for number one. I think Terminator is such a big character.
It's cultural, isn't it? It's a cultural thing.
If you mention Terminator, everyone knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Every single person.
I think it is just down to personal taste. I mean, like I said, as much as I love Arnold Schwarzenegger, just the individual moments in Terminator 2, because Arnold Schwarzenegger is better in Terminator 2.
Yeah, he is.
He's a much better character actor in that film.
Yeah. So he's improved so much, and he's come on as an actor. Yeah, he's got a better understanding of English and that, and Cameron has improved massively. Everyone just jumps 10 levels.
I mean, like bloody technology to create the Liquid Terminator was unheard of. Yeah. So everything just pulls in favour of that film.
And I think the franchise, I like the character, I like the idea of it. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff. I often like going back to the kind of like the comic books and seeing where they've gone with a lot of the ideas. The Alien comic books are amazing. I highly recommend those. I think those old ones.
The Alien franchise beyond sort of the films has fared better, really, hasn't it?
Yeah. For the most part.
Let's just say for the most part, isn't it?
Yeah,
there's still a lot of tripe out there.
But again, Cameron was involved in both. Cameron, had both like superior sequels as well.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Arguably superior to Alien, but Alien's a very different film. So they're not necessarily, you can't really compare them that well because they're so different while still being within the same franchise. It's like comparing New Hope and Rogue One. You wouldn't be able to compare them really.
Yeah, because one's a war movie and one's a...
Exactly. Yeah. They're still within the same world, but they're very different stories and very different genres within that world.
Definitely.
Even the Marvel movies they're still superhero movies, but they are very much, they're different genres and stuff. So fantastic. Great choice. So this is my number one. This is my number one.
Oh, let's have it, baby.
So here we go. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. We're here at the end.
I was thinking, right, good robots. Who has done the most good?
Good point.
Yeah. Who has done the most good? How can I find the goodest of the good? You know, the person who has done
the goodest boy of the room.
Exactly, the goodest boy. Who is the best? And I started thinking about this. I also started thinking about unappreciated characters and unknown characters, or you know. So this character is from Marvel Comics. Okay, so he's one of the first Marvel superheroes ever, probably the second. So in fact, he was on the cover of the very first Marvel comic, Marvel Comics #1.
Why do I have no idea who this is?
So he also, for facts and figures, he was also involved in the first superhero battle between two superheroes back in the 1930s. He also flew a full year before Superman ever flew. So
I have no idea who this is.
So he is.
You are surprising me here right now.
This is
you son of a bitch.
Digging deep. I'm digging deep.
You are digging deep.
This
I love
is
it.
Jim Hammond, the original android Human Torch.
My God.
Yeah, that's a deep cut. It's a deep cut.
That is.
I chose him because when I was thinking about people that have done the most good, obviously, you know, those facts alone, like, you know, he was also one of the first characters to ever headline his own book. So Batman and Superman were still Detective Comics and Action Comics at this point.
They were for a long time,
Human Torch and Submariner had their own books. Even Captain America had his own book, you know. Way before these guys broke off into their own thing, they were headliners. They were a big deal back in the 30s and 40s. You know, they were huge. They were before Captain Marvel flew. Before you know these characters were flying and back because he had to. I think he sort of started to walk on air a little bit or hovered, but never really flew until he met the Submariner, who was the first character who could fly because he had wings on his feet. So he was the first character to dive and fly. But I did do the research. I got Marvel Unlimited, so I can go back and check literally every one of his appearances. But yeah, he did fly full year before Superman ever did.
Wow,
so that's a big deal. He wasn't involved in the first team up. I think that was the Shield and somebody else, some lesser known characters. They were the first time they met. But that first ever massive brawl. If you've read Marvels, which I highly recommend if you want to read more about the Human Torch, Marvels and the Marvels Project, really, really good. Kind of talks about the beginnings of the Marvel universe from a modern perspective, and they kind of describe him as this Frankenstein's monster. So he's created to be the first ever android by Phineas T. Horton, I believe he's called.
What a name,
Phineas T. Horton. So he's actually, there's a cameo of him in the first Captain America film. If you look when you go to the Stark Expo, the very first Stark Expo.
Yes,
there
is.
He's in a glass tube. He's called the Synthetic Man because they didn't have the rights to the Human Torch. So they couldn't call him that. And he's in the red suit.
I remember seeing that being pointed out. This is actually Human Torch.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Yeah, that's crazy. And it's cool, but they couldn't technically call him the Human Torch, but that's who he was. Yeah, he starts off, he's in this glass tube, and he's this first android, he's first fully functioning android, but when he's exposed to oxygen, he catches a light, but he's not burning as in, like, he's not deteriorating, his skin is just on fire.
Yeah.
He just combusts. And straight away, he sets up these parallels that Marvel Comics had about the fear of the unknown and the way the humans would react to something like this. So straight away, they're like, oh, that's a freak, destroy him, he's going to kill everybody. And it's like, no, it's just on fire, it's not going to harm anybody. It's like, no, get rid of him, it's dangerous. And they basically bury him in concrete in this kind of iron lung sort of thing. And what Phineas T. Horton does is he puts recordings of information about the world and plays it to him while he's basically asleep. So he kind of imbibes, so he can learn while he's still there. And there's a crack in the concrete.
Yeah.
And that lets a little bit of oxygen in. And then he bursts into flame and bursts out. And he's running through the city and it's catching fire. And he doesn't understand what this is. He doesn't understand what he is, who he is. He gets the gist of what's going on in the world and what it is. And he leaves these massive flaming footprints throughout the streets of New York. You know, it's this mass panic going on. And eventually he kind of gets control over his powers. He can fly, throw fireballs. And one of the first things he does, he goes, I want to join the police. So he walks up and he's like, how do I join the police? It's fantastic. In my research, I didn't realise he had this very weird power in his early appearances, and he would yell at fires to make them go out. He would just yell at them.
Stop it.
He'd just be like, and it's not even like shouting. He'd just be like, yeah. And that would be his power. And it'd be like, and he's fighting this other guy that's flaming. He's like, if that was a real fire, my yelling power would have turned it off. I'm just like, okay, that's a strange, odd power you have. Just yelling power to put out flames. Sure. He uses it a few times. Bizarre, but great. But yeah, he becomes and then that leads him to meeting the Submariner and fighting the Submariner. And they obviously there's this fire water thing, and they have a few more battles and things. The Submariner was the first anti-hero, but the Human Torch was the first like proper hero.
Yeah.
And again, he's called the Human Torch, but he's an android, and he is like the goodest of the good guys. And me talking about, obviously comics at that time get involved in the war. They start fighting Nazis,
of course.
Japanese and all that sort of stuff. Like Captain America, the first issue of Captain America was published before America were even in the war.
Yeah.
Which was really controversial because they were like promoting pro-war. At the time. And some of the, they had the Bund Society in America who were like American Nazis as well.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of people kicking off and threatening Jack Kirby to beat him up and kill him and stuff like that.
Jesus
so it's
Christ.
quite a fiery time with all this happening and going on. Retroactively, what they did was they actually made the Human Torch at the end of the war. He finds Hitler. Okay, he finds him in his bunker. So along with real life, he finds him in his bunker. Yeah. And Hitler's about to set off a bomb and shoot someone, and the Human Torch is forced to burn Hitler alive. He kills Hitler. So if we're talking about good robots, he is very good.
You can't get any better than that, really, can you?
Killing Hitler. And there's another comic.
Good boy.
Yeah, very good boy. There's another comic where I read recently, and it was like, someone was like saying, we're going to shoot your friend. And he's like, if you shoot your friend, I'm going to give you cancer. I was like, shit, I can control radiation, so I can just give you cancer if I want. I don't have to burn you, I can just give you cancer.
Hell.
He's like, oh, okay.
Sure.
So there's that. So yeah, but he's sacrificed his life so many times. A duplicate of his body was used for the creation of the Vision. So initially, his body was used as the Vision's body. Ultron stole it, forced Horton to work on it and rework it and change his face and his body and wipe his mind and everything. And it inspired the Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, to take on that mantle because he was such a great hero in the 40s and 30s.
See, this is what the problem I have with like all the rights separation he had all those years ago.
It ruins it. You can't have Kang the Conqueror because he's related to Reed Richards, so the Avengers can't use him as a villain. There's all this complication.
This is why I've still got hope that Marvel can
sort it out.
Yeah, can get some really good sort of like connective.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Some connective things. Like make that character happen.
Do it.
Just get it out there. Get the androids. Get all the androids out there.
But there's a great character that he helps create, a female character called Spitfire, who's the daughter of the original Union Jack. He gives her a blood transfusion.
Brilliant.
And it causes her to kind of develop super speed. Yeah. And she becomes a big UK-based hero. She's in Captain Britain MI13. She's in
Give me Invaders. Captain Britain.
Give me Captain Britain. Give me Union Jack. Constantly sacrificing his life. There was a training facility during Civil War that was named after him because of his heroic sacrifices.
Yeah.
Camp Hammond.
Yeah. My God, it all makes sense.
He was resurrected in the pages of the West Coast Avengers in the 80s. He's been part of that. He's been part of the Secret Avengers, Heroes for Hire, Invaders, S.H.I.E.L.D. He's been a member of S.H.I.E.L.D. He was even like the carer for the Fantastic Four's kids for a while because they were kind of on the run and, IGN, in fact, named him 28th in the top 50 Avengers as well.
Wow.
And that's him to a T. If you really want to read about his characters, anything with the Invaders in, he's always in.
Yeah.
So check anything with that out. The Marvel Project or Marvel's Project and Marvels by Alex Ross and Kurt Busiek is one of the best Marvel comics out there, and it gives you a kind of really good modern perspective on like a human eye on what happens and how it affects people. There's a photographer called Phil Sheldon who's afraid and he gets injured and almost dies while taking all these photographs, and he has a human eye, human perspective on Marvel events that we've read from a hero's perspective, but not from a human perspective.
Wow, okay.
And the artwork is photorealistic, so it looks amazing. You read Kingdom Come?
I have, yes.
So same art style, around about the same time as well.
That's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, so good. I think they've re-released it. I think they've called it Marvel's Annotated or something recently. And there's some new covers and new behind the scenes information, and they reference specific comics and even specific panels and stuff. But yes, so the man who killed Hitler makes my number one.
If you're listening, Kevin Feige, get this character in a project.
Yeah.
God damn it, just get him in there. Sounds amazing.
Because we just, we don't even know what happened to Hitler technically, do we? In the Marvel universe,
no, exactly.
Anything could have happened.
Yeah.
And obviously, in the if I'm right in saying that his body was burnt, wasn't it? So there was no.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah,
in real life.
Historically, in real life, he apparently shot himself,
and then they burned the body.
His commanders burned the body so that they couldn't parade it.
So it purely
so the Allies didn't parade it.
Yeah, exactly, or chop it up or anything. But yeah, so it kind of sort of falls in line with the real history of World War II.
I guess it does. Yeah,
somewhat. I mean, it's not like DC Comics where. Because the argument with DC Comics was like, why didn't Superman just fly in and grab Hitler? And he's like, well, I've got the Spear of Destiny, which creates a protective force field around all of Germany.
Yeah.
I was a bit like, it's a bit shit of a reason.
Tapping into cultism, yeah.
Yeah. A little bit crap. But that's our 5. So
Excellent.
Do you have any... We've run over a little bit, but I'm going to split it into 2.
Well, yes, I was thinking that, because we have
run over, but I don't mind.
Going to have to do some genius editing.
And as long as it's good shit, I don't mind splitting it into 2.
Yeah,
people will listen.
Let's hope it was good anyway.
So have you got any honourable mentions for your evil robots?
Have I?
Have I ever?
I do.
Go on.
I have a few. I've got 6.
Okay, I've got a bit more than 6. But
cool.
Go for it.
Do you want me to lay them all out for you?
Yeah, you can talk about them individually or...
Seeing as we've got
time. We've got time.
So, in no particular order at all.
Yeah.
The first one I thought of was the gunslinger from Westworld.
Nice.
Yul Brynner.
Yeah.
Fucking terrifying.
Yeah, I think
a lot of these. I think I said that phrase a lot, haven't I? Fucking terrifying.
But they are.
That's it.
Yeah, that's the whole idea of an evil robot.
Exactly.
You want it to be fucking terrifying.
I mean,
an unstoppable killing machine.
His motivations are purely based on code.
Yeah.
There's literally nothing else to it. It's just code, and then everything's going wrong. That's it. That's basically it. But it's just relentless, isn't it? It's just relentless and unwavering.
That small idea is I've not watched any of Westworld the series, but that one little idea was sprung massively into that huge series and very popular series as well.
Yeah. Well, even like the basics for Jurassic Park,
Yeah.
A theme park goes wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Perfect.
Exactly.
That's it.
So just dead simply.
Yeah.
Utterly terrifying.
The
My grandma,
yeah.
Grandma put it on for me and made me watch it. I was like, I don't like it, especially when his face comes off.
God! It's the silvery eyes. It's those weird silvery eyes. But he's also the basis for Michael Myers. He's the basis for that, and
even the Terminator.
Yeah, even the Terminator. Yeah. That's a very influential entry. So
definitely,
that's a good honourable mention. Yeah,
definitely.
Any others?
So again, it's a little bit of a cheat one because it's honourable mention. Who cares?
Yeah,
Agent Smith. The Matrix.
Yeah, he's a sentient program, isn't he?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you couldn't. I mean,
it is kind of cheating. It's probably the biggest cheating on all. That's why it's only in honourable mentions.
But I mean, it could be one of the Sentinel drones, couldn't he? If he wanted to be, it could just be shoved into that.
But Hugo Weaving's just great.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Just great.
I mean, you could include Tron. All the characters in Tron could be, sentient programs. Yeah. Who is my maker? Who is my maker?
Who knows? But I just love it. I just love Hugo Weaving in that film. I think he's
fantastic.
Brilliant. ED-209.
Yes.
Voiced by John Davison, Paul Verhoeven's long-term producer.
Oh, really?
So there's a little bit of a connection there between the two.
I didn't know this. Tell me, please.
No, that's just it. He's just a producing partner, and obviously they wanted to put a voice onto it. So literally, he only says a few lines.
Yeah.
You have 5 seconds to comply. Just dead simple things like that.
Yeah.
But that robot,
there's so much, so much character.
I don't have anything in my hands.
It's one of the best scenes. My favourite line in that scene is there's a big gap after he gets shot. There's a big silence. Bob Morton goes, "Does someone want to call a goddamn paramedic?" It's clearly dead.
So brilliant. But I just love it, it's the ridiculous nature of it.
Oh yeah.
I think
Ed209 probably would have made my list, I think.
I call it ED209.
Yeah.
I can't say Ed. I can't call it
Ed209. Ed209. No, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
Ava from Ex Machina.
Good shout.
Vikander.
Good shout. Yeah.
I could have gone
either way.
Top 5.
Could have gone either way.
Could have had it. That film, she's played as a very sympathetic character.
Yeah.
Right up until the last 20 minutes. Yeah. When she flips the entire
story, the whole narrative,
And the crux of that is when she locks Domo Gleason in that room, and he can't get out, and she just leaves. I'm like, fucking hell, he's going to die in there. He's literally going to die in that room.
And I think that's kind of one.
Brilliant.
I think that's one where you could, if you wanted to, you could kind of place her in a good,
exactly,
on the good side of robots. Yeah,
as like like an anti-hero kind of thing, because it doesn't really. obviously it's a one shot film. There's not going to be any sequels or anything. Hope there isn't.
Yeah.
There was rumours about a sequel, but I don't think they're ever going to do it, and rightly so, because it is literally, it leaves everything open at the end, and you go, wow, I didn't see that coming. Where could it go?
Yeah.
But to me, it's the pure brutality of just going, well, you're in that room now. Good luck, and you can't get out, and you never will get out. I was just like, that's horrible. No. That's horrible. That's literally, you've been buried alive, essentially. So yeah, Megatron.
Yeah, of course. That's what I swore that was going to be your number one.
Did you? You thought it was going to be your number one?
I really thought that was going to be your number one. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry to disappoint.
It's all right.
But Frank Welker. Has to be Frank Welker.
What a legend.
I liked Hugo Weaving for what he did.
A lot of effects on it, though, wasn't there?
Yeah, a lot of effects. It wasn't really Hugo Weaving, whereas Frank Welker, it was just him.
That's him. Well, they brought him back for Soundwave.
Yeah.
Because they were like, nobody else can do this.
Yeah, exactly. Same with the guy they brought back for Starscream as well.
Yeah, and they couldn't. They had to bring back, Optimus Prime.
Well, they brought back the guy who did the voice of Bumblebee, but because at the end of the first Transformers film, he gets his voice back,
and that's him.
I think.
But then, go on.
Then they got rid of it because everyone was like, "Oh no, we liked it how he couldn't talk."
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fuck off, Michael Bay.
Well, they do. To be fair, they do the exact same thing in the new Bumblebee movie. He gets damaged, and that's straight away.
I don't like it.
I mean, I get it's entertaining, and he's referencing loads of music and different things. Yeah. But it's not.
It worked for the first film.
It's not my Bumblebee.
No. Well, if you want to
go that way,
fanboy route.
Yeah.
And then finally, Ultron.
Yes.
James Spader.
Fantastic choice.
Yeah, the film didn't really hit that well. It still made a ton of money, but James Spader's characterization...
I like it. There's certain elements I don't like about it, but I think a lot of people are quite harsh on it.
Yeah, I do as well. I think
they're too harsh on it.
Because essentially he's just a petulant child. Yeah. And compared to Loki, who was very resolute and direct in what he wanted to do, he had a clear idea.
Yeah.
Of course, he's being controlled by some higher being, but it's still Loki's idea to invade the Earth.
Yeah.
And win the Earth for Thanos. Ultron is, it's literally like, I'm a lost child, but I know what I can do to get what this,
It's basically the kind of Oedipal complex in a robot. Yeah. And I think that's one of his more interesting things, is the more human elements he has. Yeah. In the comics, he's based off a human brain pattern. Yeah. He's based off Hank Pym, who has several, mental disorders going on. That's why he's so unstable. Yeah. So putting those baseline, brainwaves onto a robot was also not a good fucking idea. No. And then he tries I talk about Ultron. I seem to talk about Ultron quite a lot. Ultron Unlimited is my favourite storyline with him in. And he has loads of drones and versions of himself, but there's no individuality. It's just like a hive mind. It's like the Borg. He wants the individuality because he wants a family. Yeah. So he kidnaps all of his family, quote unquote family. So Wonder Man, Grim Reaper, Scarlet Witch, Vision, and all of his relatives. And he copies their brainwaves and he's going to implant them on new ones. And then he's going to combine a lot of them to make new brainwaves and new, iterations of the Ultron family, which I found really fascinating. And it's just a great villain. He's just, like you said, I think robots do make great villains, like the Sentinels. They don't, there's no, like Carl Reese says, there's no bartering with the Terminator. No. There is no way he absolutely will not stop until you are dead. And most of these robots are the same. The whole idea, they were just, this is what I've decided on, this is what I'm programmed to do. Yeah. Nothing changes my mind. It's this. And they're metal, they're indestructible in so many forms, but it's that human, it's that mechanized might versus human, the human might. Ingenuity. And there was a lot of, even in the 30s, there was a lot of movement against being mechanized and robots coming. And even now.
It was a reaction to the First World War, wasn't it? Because everything mechanized so exponentially and so quickly, people were unsure, they were terrified.
Yeah. And
because literally we went from horseback to tanks in less than 4 years.
We had the factories, and then we're doing different things, but there's a lot of mechanized help. Even now, even my work said that they had an announcement going, the robots are coming. I shit you not, that was their video.
Really?
The robots are coming. Yeah, so we have to change our ways of working. They literally said that. I was like,
what the fuck?
I was like, fucking hell, okay. Won't say who I work for, but that was their video, and I was like, that's kind of terrifying in a weird way, kind of putting me out of a job. But no, we don't want to put you out of a job. We want to work in a different way. But I was like, that the way she said it was like, it was almost like some sort
coming here to replace you.
It was almost like a propaganda piece. It was really weird. But
sounds bizarre.
It was really
I'm
odd.
really quite busy. Knowing I know who you work for.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
That really does surprise me.
Doesn't smack of who I work
Never
for,
get
does
anything
it?
like that in my line of work.
No, exactly.
Although I don't know. I'd probably prefer
You never know.
Actually.
You never know.
Somebody please make robots so I don't have to do it anymore.
Cool. Yeah, I think that was an excellent choice. Any other honourable mentions?
No, that's it for me. I think there are so many out there, though.
Yeah.
You could literally go on for hours and hours. We've gone on for quite a long time.
Yeah,
already,
exactly.
To be fair.
But it's good stuff. It's all good stuff.
So there you go.
I'll list mine very quickly. So these guys came very close to being on my list. It's Huey, Dewey, and Louie from Silent Running.
Yes.
The lovely...
I thought you were going to say DuckTales, and I was like, hang on, they're not
Wait
robots,
a minute.
they're ducks.
No, or I think they're called like Drone 1, Drone 2, and Drone 3, but then he names them.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of character to them as well. They're really quite fascinating. And again, the message is quite, even though it's like 30-year-old film or something, 40-year-old film, the message is still quite relevant. He's looking after the final gardens of Earth, the final forests of Earth. And they go, no, it costs too much money. Just jettison them and blow them up. And he actually kills to save these forests, and all he's got left are these robots, and he teaches them how to play poker. And
Jesus.
And in fact, the people that paid the robot were amputees. So
Really?
they had no legs, but they had arms. So that's why they walk around like this.
Bloody hell.
So that's why there's so much character to them. And when one of them dies, one of them gets like thrown into space, and you're like, oh fuck, the little cute little robot's gone.
The little robot's dead.
Yeah, and it was like, you better watch yourself. And it's quite intense. There is a bit though where he's like, the forest is dying in the film, and he can't figure out what it is.
Yeah,
and he's like this botanist and this scientist, and eventually realizes they're not getting enough sun. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You're a botanist, and you don't realise that the plants aren't getting enough sun. That's the last thing you because you see him looking through all these books, and I'm like, this is a bit bullshit.
Yeah.
But apart from that, the film was really good, and I really enjoyed it. I
can honestly say I've never watched that film.
No, I think you might dig it. I give it a go. But yeah,
I've heard it referenced so many times.
Yeah, check it out. I think it's on. It might be on Amazon Prime. I think it was.
I'll have a look.
But see if it's there. But if not, I do recommend seeing it. So I was going to include a lot of comic book robots, but I've tried to limit that a little bit. Danger from Marvel Comics. So Danger is the embodiment, the physical embodiment of the Danger Room from X-Men. Basically, every time the mansion gets attacked and blown up, they have to the Danger Room. They get Shi'ar technology, so the bird aliens, the Empire from Marvel Comics. They use a lot of their holographic and hard light technology, and eventually it evolved and gained sentience. But Professor X obviously needs to train his X-Men. He ignored her. Didn't give a fuck, just ignored her and she slowly kind of evolved and was like, hello, is anyone there? And he's like, nah, too busy training my X-Men, you're gonna try and kill him. And eventually she breaks out and starts trying to kill Professor X and the X-Men. It's a great little I think the storyline is called Danger as well. It's in the Astonishing X-Men by Joss Whedon, actually. Joss Whedon wrote it. So it's really, really good storyline. And eventually she does join the X-Men and tries to understand what being human is, basically, to evolve. We've got Chappie.
Of course, Chappie. Jesus.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Chappie. I know a lot of people didn't, but I thought it was...
It's okay, yeah.
I thought it was the best. It was kind of like RoboCop meets a Short Circuit.
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I thought Hugh Jackman was good.
Really good description.
Was a good villain as well. I really enjoed it. So give that one a look. Eva from WALL-E.
Ava. I love you for mentioning that.
Yeah, Ava from WALL-E. I didn't want to mention WALL-E because I thought it was too obvious, but I think Ava is pretty cool, and obviously she's got more. I'd argue she's got more agency than WALL-E does.
Yeah, definitely.
Things just kind of happen to WALL-E a little bit, but I love WALL-E. I love WALL-E just as much, but I just thought it was a bit too obvious to mention. Jinx from Space Camp. I watched recently it is available on YouTube in its entirety in HD if you want to watch it.
Excellent.
It's Jinx is actually played by Frank Welker as well, and he basically he gets reprogrammed and he starts like hey dude and stuff like that. And it's not River.
Welker, what are you doing?
It's Joaquin Phoenix's first film as well.
Yes.
Yeah. I think he's called Leaf. Leaf Phoenix, I think he's called.
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah. Subsequent DVD releases have put like the first appearance of
Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah. But it's got Kate Capshaw from Temple of Doom's in it. She's fantastic in it. Kelly Preston and Lee Thompson from Back to the Future is in it. Good cast. Tom Skerritt from Top Gun, same year that came out. It was in Top Gun. It didn't do very well at the box office.
I was just going to say, I think it flew massively under the radar, didn't it?
Because of the Challenger explosion.
Fuck,
yeah,
of course.
Yeah, it was a big tragedy, and they bounced it back, and the director thought it will still do well because obviously,
Jesus, I didn't even think of that.
Because basically, the whole idea of them is Jinx wants Joaquin Phoenix's characters go into space, so they're in an actual space shuttle that's not ready for launch. Yeah. But there's danger that it'll explode, so they're forced to launch into space. So people thought it was in bad taste because it was putting kids in potential harm.
Well, yeah, I mean, millions of kids watched the Challenger launch, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
I remember that it was. I don't remember obviously, but I've watched documentaries on it.
Yeah.
Because not a morbid fascination about it, but
it is interesting.
It was literally a national event that literally thousands of schools across the United States and in the UK were like watching it, and these people died on live television.
Yeah.
In like a horrific way. I mean, that explosion
atomized, basically, weren't they?
Yeah, that one explosion is like one of the most violent rocket explosions. I mean, no rocket explosions, not violent, but it's the nature of it. It was just utterly fucking horrific.
And it was just totally out of the blue as well.
Jesus, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so that's why it didn't do so well. But the film itself is actually really good.
It's all right.
And it's a realistic space adventure as well. It's not like, Flight of Fancy. It is still a Flight of Fancy, but it's not as ridiculous as you would think it would be. Yeah. But it's lots of fun. And again, it's good cast, strong. Again, fully available on YouTube. Whole thing in HD quality is available on YouTube. I'd definitely rewatch it if you've seen it or you haven't seen it. Let's give it a go. It's a fun family film, and you know what? It actually, even though obviously all this terrible, kind of tragedy happened, the space camp it was more popular than ever after this film. Yeah, and they have so many people that went purely. It tripled in applicants after that film, so it still inspired people to go out and try to go into space.
Which is obviously the best thing about
And they were the whole film, the cast, and the director were inducted into Space Camp Hall of Fame as well. Yeah, because of the inspiration. See, this could have been easily one of my choices. I know that much about it. But it's a fascinating kind of bit of history and probably one of the biggest kind of marketing campaigns that went wrong. Vincent from Black Hole, the Black Hole.
That film, Disney went dark.
It is.
If we're talking about that film when I was a kid, and it fucked me up.
Like Maximilian in it as well.
Terrifying.
He's basically robot Satan. Yeah. And even at the end, the
whole thing is like, oh my god, we're going to crash into the black hole and we'll die. Yeah. Oh my god.
What's on the other side of the black hole?
Yeah. Oh.
It's not.
Oh my god, it's dark.
Yeah. It's not a great movie, I'll be honest. But when I was watching it, I posted on Facebook. I was watching it, but there seemed to be a lot of love for it from a lot of slightly older. I'd say 40s people in their 40s and 50s.
It's a forgotten classic.
Yeah. There is something about it, but
that big red boat robot that shreds. Yeah. What's the actor's name?
Yeah. It's Anthony Perkins.
Yeah, Anthony Perkins.
Psycho.
He just holds a book in front of it to try and stop the shredder, and it just goes straight through it and shreds him to pieces.
Yeah. And Vincent, and you've got the other one. I think it's Bob, the other one, who's played by. I can't remember who plays Vincent. He's an Oscar winner. He's Cornelius from Planet of the Apes. And plays Mad Hatter in Batman the Animated Series. I'm drawing a blank. If you know his name, message me. But he's really good, and he's the one with another Jet Jaguar has that weird power of being able to change size. Yeah, Vincent is a psychic robot. Like he has an ESP connection with the woman in the crew, and I'm like, how does that work? But fair enough. But
in that film, it's all over the place.
I think after that film, Disney decided to make a different film company for their more adult projects. I think it was Touchstone or
Buena Vista?
Touchstone. That was it. Yeah,
it was Touchstone.
I think it's one of those. So they said, right, we're going to stop making more adult stuff. We still want to do that, but we still don't want to ruin the Disney brand. Yeah, which is kind of the thing there.
That was it, because obviously it was Disney logo was plastered all over it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then because it was quite dark and they were like, oh,
it's a bit much. Yeah. But yeah, so that's a really good one. Rosie the robot from the Jetsons. Their robot maid, why not? They did have.
Why not? Whatever.
So what else have we got? Still got quite a lot to do, to be honest.
Just keep going.
I'll just keep going.
Just keep going.
Bill and Ted's The Good Robot Usses.
Next.
The Metal Men from DC Comics.
The Metal Men?
The Metal Men, yeah. So they're all based on a different element. So it's like iron, gold, platinum, tin.
Yeah. Okay.
They all have personalities. Tin. Yeah, Tin's like the weak and useless one.
I'm platinum. I'm tin.
Basically, that's it. That's his voice. That's basically his voice. He's like, no, I don't know, guys. If you watch Batman the Brave and the Bold, it'll tell you everything you need to know about the Metal Men. But yeah, they all have personalities kind of based.
Brilliant.
So like lead is quite dull.
I think I'd be
iron's
tin.
quite strong. I'm definitely lead then.
Quite dull.
The leader is gold.
I can stop radiation.
But yeah, so they're interesting, a bit different.
Brilliant.
Athena from Tomorrowland. I wasn't a massive fan of the film, but I thought she was pretty cool in it.
Yeah.
It's another kind of AI for me, that one.
Yeah. Me and Natalie watched that film, and I thought it was garbage.
Yeah, I didn't think it was great.
No. That was another one of those big epic failures of Disney. Disney have had a lot of them recently.
They have. They've had a run.
It's too many.
You've got
I like him.
So Aaron Stack or Machine Man or X-51 from Marvel Comics, Jack Kirby creation. His recent kind of reinterpretation where he just fucking hates humans is brilliant. He just constantly like calling them fleshies and fleshlings and all that sort of stuff. He's great, and he's a bit of a dick now. So he was quite kooky in the beginning, kind of kooky and weird because that's Kirby.
Evolution.
Yes, and Android 16 from Dragon Ball Z. So he's,
okay.
Yeah, he's kind of a big guy, and he's supposed to be evil, but he's like, I like animals and pretty birds. So that's what he's into. Right, listener comments. We've still got these to do.
Is this going to be the longest podcast you've done?
Maybe.
Who cares?
Who cares? It's good shit. Shit. I don't mind.
Even though I just blame it on me for rambling.
No.
Incessantly about terrifying fucking monsters.
We've both rambled. We have things to say, Andrew, and if it takes two parts of a podcast, that's just. I mean, Podbean could extend their listening hours if they wanted to.
It could.
But
Why don't you?
Why don't you?
You sons
So let's look
of
at these
guns.
listener comments. So
go on then.
From Facebook, we've got Alex Clifton. Mine has to be Overlord from the Transformers franchise.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool.
He's if you want to read any Transformers comic, Andrew, which I think you would like, Last Stand of the Wreckers.
Yeah.
Overlord is the villain, and it's probably one of the most brutal, dark, and kind of warlike.
Yeah.
It's basically it's a war film. And it's a ragtag group of... it's got Springer. Springer's the leader from Transformers the movie. The guy who turns into a helicopter and a car.
Yeah.
That one, the green guy. He's kind of the leader in it. It's got Prowl and Cup and a few other characters. I think there is a book that combines all the kind of sequels as well. I think there's Requiem for the Wreckers and Return of the Wreckers or something. Just get that book. It's all good shit.
Just buy it.
Andrew Knowles made a comment.
I did.
He did. And it's a gif of Megatron removing Lincoln from his seat, and then Megatron sits on the seat.
Is that why you thought it was going to be my number one?
Kind of, a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought that was.
I just thought it was like a really funny. It just sums up. The brilliance of Megatron.
Sums up Megatron, yeah, he loves it.
I will take that seat, thank you.
One of my favourite things about the recent kind of Transformers franchise, it's called, the comic's called More Than Meets the Eye. There was also Robots in Disguise, Robots in Disguise was kind of a political intrigue.
Yeah.
And More Than Meets the Eye was them going off to find the Knights of Cybertron. So that was their quest. But these two comics come about because the war has ended. And that's when shit gets really interesting, when the war is over and like you see people, switch sides. What are they going to do? How do they, proceed? And eventually Megatron becomes an Autobot and is non-violent, doesn't commit any forms of violence.
It's stuff like that I'd like to see with the Transformers franchise. I like to see them just stop making mindless action.
There's a couple...
really think about what they're doing with the story, because the wealth of characters is unbelievable.
The universe is untapped potential. It really is. And the comics are the best version of that.
I kind of like Michael Bay films to a degree, but he has ruined that franchise. But Hasbro didn't care because they were just raking in fucking money.
Because you got people just mindless violence and cars and shit. And that's not really what the Transformers is about, really, for me.
No, it's not. Not for me either.
There's some great stuff. There's even gay Transformers, same-sex relationship Transformers, which is some of the most beautiful writing of a same-sex relationship I have read. And it's two Transformers, and it's ridiculous. But I can't get enough of it. And there's transgender Transformers. There's Transformers that turn into useless shit, and you see like Megatron's quest and why he begun it, where it's much like Hitler. You see him, he was a socialist. Yeah. He dreamed of a socialist society, and not far from what maybe a Jeremy Corbyn would want. But then he went into a bad way, and Megatron's the same. It just kind of de-evolved.
I think it's the one franchise, I think, if you had an unlimited amount of money and no fear of cancellation, you could make the greatest TV show ever. Yeah. With Transformers.
And there's a good thing as well. When they go to planets, they have these holographic avatars, so they become like either human versions of themselves or alien versions of themselves, so they can interact with other people without revealing them as being Cybertronian. Yeah. So highly recommend if you want to do that. More Than Meets the Eye and Robots in Disguise, they kind of cross over a little bit later on. The finale of that particular timeline ends with a Unicron arriving, but Shockwave's in it and he resurrects loads of dead Cybertronians and stuff. It's great. It's great shit, and all the stuff with Ratchet I've already mentioned. Great stuff. But yeah, highly recommend that. What else was there? So that was your comment. So Andrew Ferguson on Facebook has gone R2D2.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Commander Data.
Yeah.
And of course, TV's favourite sanitation droid, Crichton 264B523P. Which I think is a really good choice, actually.
Brilliant.
And then Cristiano Smith has said Bender from Futurama.
Ah, yeah.
Which is a good one. Whether he's good or bad, we'll leave that up to you.
I think he blurs the lines, doesn't he?
Certainly.
We'll allow that because he likes to drink his beer.
Michael Chandler. I also like everything about this film. So this is number 9. This is a film called 9. It's an animated film. I think Tim Burton produced it.
Yeah, he produced it. I think he didn't direct it as far as I'm aware, but it was very much produced by him.
So as much as I like the main bots and the creativity of the inventing machine and the legitimate threats were great. So I'll have to check that one out because it did look quite interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if Natalie's watched it. I think she probably has, to be fair.
Yeah, probably. Michael Chandler again commented with a gif of the Iron Giant.
Yeah. Oh, the Iron...
I think I just turned 20.
Fuck me, make a live-action film of that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Why not? Why the hell not?
If they're going to do remakes, the Iron Giant... I don't really like remakes, to be fair, but the Iron Giant, if you put the same...
put the effort into it.
I mean, I don't know. In fact, no, don't make a remake.
No, don't do it.
You'll fuck it up.
You'll ruin it.
It's a great film. It's got so much heart in that film.
It's a beautiful film, and Vin Diesel's best role.
Yeah,
easily his best role. So
he is not Groot in that film.
He's certainly not. That's his other good role. Everything else,
Bloodshot looks terrible.
Yeah, it does. I've heard bad things. So this is moving on to Twitter. So it's I am Jack's Musings. That's at I am Jack's Musings, one of our biggest fans. Yeah. Still holding strong. I love you, Jack. So he selected Crichton, Kit from Knight Rider.
Oh yeah, Kit.
The Buffy bot.
The Buffy bot.
Yeah, there's a robot that gets created by this scientist in the Buffy TV series, and she's a robot.
Wow, I need to watch this show.
Buffy's great shit. It's good stuff.
I've watched the odd episode. I watched the musical one, which is bizarre.
It's a weird one, but it's fun. And he's also included the robot from Rocky IV.
No!
The one that Paulie definitely has sex with. Oh. He definitely has sex with that robot. No, there's no qualms about it. Why would he change it to a lady's voice?
He's added that in there just for a laugh, hasn't he? Because that robot's a crock of shit.
It's shite. It looks more like an alien, if anything.
I was watching it, I was like, is this real? This can't be. I'm watching the wrong film here. This is not Rocky.
It's a weird one. So Ben at Nerds Chatting, is that at Ben_Nerd Chat. He's posted a gif of Data saying, I hate this. Takes a drink and tastes it and is like, oh, I feel things. So he likes that. Jack and the Geeks Talk at Jack Geeks Talk. Sonny from iRobot.
Oh yeah, I mean, that is a good one.
Yeah. That is a good one. And again,
great character.
Yeah, he's on the borderline.
Well, he does play on the borderline, doesn't he?
Yeah. Johnny Five from Short Circuit.
First one, not the second one. Second Short Circuit is awful.
Oh, I quite like it.
Really?
I quite like it.
What just makes it that guy playing the Indian character even more horribly racist?
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Because the lead guy from the first one refused to come back.
Steve Guttenberg, Steve Guttenberg from Police Academy, he refused to come back. So that's the one thing that hasn't aged well about Johnny Five. Short Circuit.
I don't even. I could no.
Nah.
No.
We won't go into that. It's an overly long... That's an overly long podcast
I watched it a couple of years ago again with Natalie, and I was just like... Even when the film is really good, something happens, and he says something, you just go...
just every time he opens his mouth.
It's like a poo.
I think you'll like this one. Caprica 6.
Oh, Battlestar, yeah.
Battlestar Galactica, yeah.
I didn't even think of that. Transfer that into my honourable mentions. Yeah,
there you go.
Caprica 6 from the Battlestar remake.
Is that the sexy one?
Yes.
Yeah, sexy one.
For the Tricia Helfer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, she's really good.
She bridges the gap between the machines and the humans.
Wow.
It's fantastic.
Sounds good.
She's in the opening scene, and it's brilliant. Brilliant. And she kills a baby.
Oh, wow.
In the episode.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah, it's a really quite horrific.
Yeah,
I had to turn it off after Natalie saw that. She was like, I don't like this anymore. I was
yeah,
like, okay.
Well, Natalie was saying there's a lot of stuff she wasn't going to watch when I was listing the dogs, so I was like, that's probably not in the one.
Because the first episode of Battlestar, the remake TV show, is 3 hours long. Yeah. It's like a prequel movie kind of thing. Yeah. And when that bit happened, she just looked at me and I went, this is not for you, is it?
Turn it off.
Not really. I was like, okay, turn it off.
And they've also, Jack and the Geek Talk have also included T1000, which you mentioned, obviously.
Yes, lad.
Yeah. Again, Nerds Chatting. So Nerds Chatting, Ben from Nerds Chatting has said data. I think he did say data. So Nerds Chatting, their actual Twitter handle. So that's at Nerds Chat, I believe. And they've referenced data again with a different GIF.
Data is such a great character.
And that's it. That's all of the listener comments. So we are finally, after all this time, we are done. So
it's been such a long.
It's been so long.
How long are we at?
It looks like 135 minutes. So what's that? That's like the length of a film, isn't it?
We're hitting Lord of the Rings time.
So I'll release it. I'll release it in 2 halves, so it's a bit more manageable.
Good luck trying to edit the break in that. There was a point at one point I thought,
we can do it.
You've been doing breaks in some of your podcasts recently.
I have.
Are you going to put a break in this? And then we just carried on. I was like, nah, fuck it.
We're here now. I was doing it because I put breaks in if I feel like we need one. But you are happy,
no, I'm always happy.
We've kept going. We're passionate. We kept our energy up. We had a lot of coffee, so we're all good. But before we go, I'm just going to say, where can you find us on the social medias, Andrew?
Oh, me?
Yeah, where can I find you? I want to find you. Me? I want to hunt you down, exterminate you like a Terminator.
Well, I have a very small YouTube channel called Angry Andy Reviews.
Yes.
I also have a Facebook page of the same name, so you can find me.
And you can read your reviews there if you don't want to watch them.
Yeah, so basically I record what I've written down. My dog is barking. He doesn't like the channel. Hates it. Yeah. So basically I just record what I've written down, basically, and put a bit of character into that. Not really anything much, but it's only a small channel. It's getting there.
I mean, I always I prefer it when you've got a bad film.
Yes.
It's always so much better when you've got a bad film. I think when you've got a good film, it's kind of like it's a good film. It's a good film.
It was.
But if I want Angry Andy, I want Angry Andy. So it's got to be a bad film.
I mean,
check out the Dark Phoenix review. That's a good one.
Ah, yes. Did I do a video for that one?
You did do a Dark Phoenix one, and you did a Terminator one as well.
Yep, Terminator.
Not seen it. Probably based off your review.
Yeah. I mean, that's just it. My reviews are few and far between because obviously I don't have that much time in the world.
No, of course, you're very busy.
This current climate as well. And you get a load of films.
And you're getting married as well, so you got all that stuff to do.
Yeah. So by all means, come and find me at Angry Andy Reviews. Subscribe and
really good stuff.
Have a look at some of the videos.
I will. I think I'll include a link for you.
Thank
you. When I post about this.
Thank you, sir.
When it does finally come out, when I finally edited all this. But yes, and
if we're still here,
if we're still alive, if I'm still alive, who knows? But you can find me at Secret Balls on Facebook. So you type that into the search bar. It's at Dan_Balls on Twitter. Instagram, it's Spider Dan Secret Balls, all one word. The podcast itself is available on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, many, many more. And if you'd like to donate towards the podcast, you can buy me a coffee at ko-fi.com. And that's /Spider Dan and the Secret Balls. And when you're interacting with us, don't forget to use the hashtag #PrepareForPrattle. Thank you very much, Andrew. This has been fantastic.
It has. I've had a lot of fun.
We've been very unrobotic in this, very passionate.
Absolutely.
So
end of line.